All right, welcome back to the channel. It's Shay Seeking or Shalonda, and we're going to go ahead and look at a couple of things, right? So I'm thinking, all right, today is July 1st, right? My senses are telling me something, right? So we're going to go ahead and look at a couple of things, right? So again, sometimes it's just something, right? So, excuse me. It's a couple things I find funny, okay? So, well, not funny. I guess it would be kind of serious, right? But we're going to go ahead and look at what stuff happened on this day, right? Because, you know, something is telling me to look. So we're going to just look together. And I kind of just pulled up a couple things. I spotted a couple of things, and I want to share a couple things. So, all right. So these things may be pertaining to things that are actually happening today on the spiritual realm, again, or within, what do you call it? The spiritual realm, or within the, this worldly realm. Okay. So again, it says here that Batavian nobleman, Gaius Julius Civilis. So it's funny, we're going to be talking about like cities or civilians and things like this, right? Proclaimed emperor of Syria. Okay, so again, keep in mind that when we're talking about his story, okay, and we're talking about some of these places, some of these things actually happen here in the Americas. Even if they happen somewhere else, it could have something to do with situations that were going on here. And again, take it. I mean, you guys are really, really intuitive and smart. So again, we can't go into too many details, but we're gonna go ahead and look at these things, and you can take it, however you want. So then we have 69, which I don't know, reminded me of a cancer. It's just, and also, you know what it reminded me of? Which also, I guess this happens to remind me of the world. Like the world card when you talk about the tarot. And how it's like, I think it's two things surrounding by the world, right? So again, yeah, that's very interesting, actually. You know what? Hold on. No, I don't have that. Hold on. Okay. All right. So again, yeah, so this is the card. I mean, they have different versions of it or whatever, but we're looking at this card where it's a sense of this. Again, we see a female mainly in this circle. Again, I feel like this has something to do with some type of barrier of protection. And again, when we're reading this, it almost seems like somebody wants to break down that barrier of protection, and they want to be able to do something. So again, that's just what it reminds me of. And they're like bind it together, even right here with the red, like a red scarf almost, a scarlet colored scarf. And she's sitting there, and she seems protected. And again, this reminds me of the four angels that were surrounded by, right? That were like, I think again, it's a popular verse, so you guys probably know. I think it says something about he woke up, and again, we always use interchangeable he or she, because again, while we're looking for, and I just want to say this, not to try to manipulate anything, but to say, there's things done under the noses, right? And there's things that are done that are kind of so that we could look over here at one thing, but really something is happening to someone or something over here, right? Something that has been cut off as an island, or set to the side, or cut off a cornerstone, or anything like this, right? So again, it will allow for improper positioning, right? Or again, I see a sense of something where we'll just go through the terms, and you'll see what I'm saying, okay? So again, it's just funny how these words kind of really tell a story here, because we see a feminine energy here with these walls. And we know when we're, again, on this channel, the way we look at Jerusalem and Zion and Israel, there's different ways to look at it as a place, right? Also the inhabitants of, and also a cornerstone, okay, of a place. again, which again, we a lord or lordess, emperor or empress, okay? And then the way I see it, that sometimes greed and things can get in the way. And again, sometimes, and I feel like, usually if it's not the case, I would feel like it would be more spoken of, and again, everybody that would be included would know what was going on. So again, if there's certain portions of a group where one half doesn't know, right? Say it was the male aspect that didn't know, right? And then had time to plot and plan, and also, a sense of, to corral, right? And then say that also there was a feminine aspect that the same thing had time to plot or do all these things or whatever. And again, so I think like a lot of this stuff usually has something to do with even sometimes idols being placed in the place of, right? If things didn't go one way or something. Okay. So this is just what I'm trying to, this is what I'm seeing again when I'm looking through these terms and this here information. Okay. So, all right. So again, 69, Roman general Vespasian is the first proclaimed emperor by troops in Egypt during the year of the 4 emperors. Okay. All right. Again, that's so funny. Because again, these would be possibly emperors and empresses, It's kind of like I do get a Roman feel. But again, she's been undressed in that image that we just saw too. You see that? Like her breasts have been exposed, so it's also, even reminding me of just old so-called slavery images. And, it's also reminding me of, Ishtar, and some of these other images where you'll see like a flourishings around the woman and she's there, right? Maybe even with her eyes closed most of the time. You see what I'm saying? So it's a sense of blinding, just like the justice statue we looked at the other day, just like when we look at Asherah or Astarte and these images of these women that have like something over their face or over their eyes and things like this. It's just like we read in the text, in the biblical text, that people came and they had something over their head and they got it removed. They say remove this from the head or whatever, and then let's see, again. So let's see. So again, here's another one. So again, I find these little images here to the left funny too. And then we also see here number 70, okay, will be the battle of interest. And it says Roman General Titus and his forces set up battling rams to assault the walls of Jerusalem. Okay. Now, of course, in this day and age, we would be looking at sons of or descendants of these particular people, again, on the spiritual realm or even in this worldly realm. Okay. Let's see. The Battle of Abretus in the Balkans, won by the Goths against the Romans. Roman emperors Decius, Herinius, Etruscans are killed. Oh, didn't we say something about the Etruscans the other day? Dang, I can't even remember what we was talking about and why I brought it up. But again, like I said, in this day and age, these particular things could be happening, but they may come out with a positive outcome. But again, like there's nothing new under the sun. His story repeats itself. Again, we have to look back and see how many times in the past have they been this way, and then how many times, like right now, are they going to be led to be in a different manner? And what are the works of the world these days when it comes to certain groups of people and certain things? How does the world look at things? How does the world look at women of power that exalt their power and sit on their throne or pedestal or in a lifted or a haughty manner? It's okay for men But when it comes to women, again, although they are watching the woman, taking tips from the woman, but will she be protected or will she not? So that just helps you just put things into perspective as to what we're talking about. And then also to look at the whole storyline again and all these things again. So again, in China, okay, sunglasses are invented. What? In 1200? King of Castile and Leon crowned. Engagement of court Louis of Maille to Margaretha, daughter of Jan the Third. I don't know if that's Jan. Well, it just says Jan. The first burning of Protestants at the stake in the Netherlands. Because like again, there's been a lot of talk about witches must go and be burned at the stake, and what we're talking about is people, okay, in certain positions that would be doing these particular types of things, black magic and sorcery on inhabitants or individuals. But again, they don't want you to be able to tap into certain things, to your intuition or things like this. Some of us are going to be given gifts naturally, that you can't help, that we're sometimes trying to share or connect with other people that have the same like-mindedness. And these are just natural things. So, but again, it will be, like I said, vilified. Okay. I mean, this is men and women. This is just women in general. Because again, that term, when you look it up in etymology, can be talking about anybody, man, woman, or child. Okay. So again, it says Thomas More goes in trial in England, charged with treason. England and Scotland signed a peace treaty in Greenwich. Let's see, we're just going to skip through a couple of these. Spain, France, and the Netherlands form a triple alliance. 1690, army of Protestant King William III defeats disposed Roman Catholic King James II in battle of Boyne, I don't know, maybe, in Ireland. 1698, Congregation of Notre Dame of Montreal, founded by Marguerite Bourgeois. That sounds like this name that we just read, but again, may not be the same person. Canonically constituted a community. First Canadian saint. Okay, 1745, warship Elizabeth joins Bonnie, Prince Charles frigate, somebody, okay, pretender to the, I thought it was about to say contender, but it says pretender to the British throne. Oh, okay, 1776. So again, I would look at the biblical text and look at whatever happened on the first day of the first day of the 6th month, or you could take it and look at the first day of whatever of the 7th month. Or you can look at what it would be in the Hebrew or Jewish calendar, whatever happened. Like you can just Google it really, and find out what happened on the first day of the whatever it would be in a Jewish or Hebrew calendar. And sometimes you can find things that are very similar, if not exact, to things that happen on this day when it comes to 1776 and, times after that. And again, we've done a couple of those videos on the channel. Let's see. John Rutledge becomes second Chief Justice to the U.S. Supreme Court. 1798, Napoleon's fleet reaches Alexandria, Egypt. Okay. And again, we know that there's, okay. On this channel, we look into ancient Egypt and America. Just with certain artifacts, right, that have been, collected. Within even caves and stuff in Illinois and certain places, And I wonder how close those places are to Cairo, Illinois. So again, 1816, the French frigate, that's the same name from up above, Medusa wrecked. A basis of whoever that is painting, raft of the Medusa. And almost, I know it's not talk about Medusa. I mean, when we look at the world card, but that always reminds me of like a serpent sometimes. I know it's like probably something else, but again. All right, so let's just know something about the post office or something. I think zip codes or something were put in place. I found that interesting. 1836, Andrew Jackson announces to Congress bequest by James Smith's son of 100,000 gold sovereigns. Oh, wow. To found institution in Washington. So again, when I read stuff like this, there is a positive outcome. I feel like some of these things, like what was done here, could possibly be done in a new way here. That could be a positive outcome, for the people. But I'm just saying, I just question everything. The gold sovereigns. Okay. Again, let's see, 1858, the joint reading of Charles Darwin and Alfred Russell, Papers on Evolution. We know about that. People have their opinions of what that's talking about. Let's see. Oh, now Kansas was something I was reading about earlier. Okay. The U.S. War Department decrees that Kansas and Tennessee are to be canvassed for volunteers. Can't remember. I think it had something to do with John Brown, though. What I was reading earlier. So again, 1862, Battle of Bonneville, Mississippi, Confederate superior power driven out. 1862, Alexander II of Russia grants Jews the right to publish books. 1862, U.S. Internal Revenue Law imposes first federal taxes on inheritance, tobacco, and on incomes over $600. The Battle of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Let's see. 1863, slavery abolished in Suriname and Dutch Antilles. 1867, the Dominion of Canada is formed, comprising the provinces of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Ontario, Quebec, and John Macdonald serving as the first Prime Minister of Canada. Okay. Let's see, 1873, Henry Ossian Flipper of Georgia enters West Point Military Academy, a soldier and former slave. Prince Edward Island becomes 7th Canadian province. Excuse me. Okay. 1874, Dutch First Chamber accepts law governing child labor in factories. First U.S. kidnapping for ransom. Let's see. All right, so again, I think that's, 1889, Frederick Douglass named U.S. Minister of Haiti, or IAT. General Order 70, the culmination of the Cadwell-Childers reform from British Army. Okay, so again, that's just first speaker, Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt and his Rough Riders charge up San Juan Hill. I know there's a lot of stuff reference to Mexico that I ran into. Okay, 1902, U.S. Congress passes Philippines Government Act, providing that the Philippines be governed by a commission appointed to the president and consent from the Senate. Filipinos are to be treated as citizens of their land. No, the U.S. I don't know. Tour de France, inaugural race begins in Montaigeron in southeastern suburbs of Paris. Okay, so anyways, Something about Einstein. I mean, it just keep going on and on. But let's see. I'm going to go ahead and slow down right here around the 20s. Okay? Let's slow down around the 20s. See what we see. Let's see. This is about sports. Men's golf. Women's something. Okay. Sir Herbert Samuel takes over as High Commissioner over Palestine, where Arab resistance to the British mandate continues. Now, again, consider this also here in the Americas, in a sense, right? And just consider British colonies and things like this, instead. Okay. More about sports. Permanent radio network. Secretary of State for Dominion Affairs created. Canada restores gold standard. Okay. U.S. immigration laws of 1924. Okay, so again, we can stop there. But what we really want to look at right here is the only thing we're going to really go into is the thing about the walls of Jerusalem. Okay. All right. With Titus. Up battering rams to assault the walls of Jerusalem. So again, let's go ahead and look. Okay. So again, when we look up Jerusalem, Jerusalem, it's a city in Western Asia on a plateau in Judean mountains between the Mediterranean and the Dead Sea. It is one of the oldest cities in the world and is considered holy to the three major Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Okay. And Arabic, Jerusalem is most commonly known as the Holy or Holy Sanctuary. And I'm thinking, what do you mean? Are we talking about even when I'm thinking the Holy Sanctuary of even God, right? But again, in that time we would think, of course, back then, even though we have ancient technology, we would think that, if God was to be dwelling in one of these temples or vessels, right? I would imagine it would be the holy city, because they would be having some kind of a strong connection with God, right? Okay. But again, what we could have been also talking about, back then, if we come on into the day, right? That even a God, right? Because Satan is going to try to put his, so-called Satan is supposed to be trying to put his throne or rise up to the same, dominion as God or whatever. So again, we could look at it as today, could we be talking about, okay, because we're going to talk about natural and we're going to talk about man-made, right? So I'm even just thinking about the oracle from the Matrix. And I'm talking about eyes to see in a certain sense, and then man-made eyes to see, right? So again, we're going to be looking at some temples that are made by man's hands and some that are made by the Most High or Source. So that makes me even think about AI. But regardless, the holy or the Holy Sanctuary, East-West Jerusalem division, okay? Hold on, I found that interesting. Israel asks U.S. to hold off on reopening Jerusalem consulate. One trapped, several hurt in Washington, D.C. A building collapsed Oh, another building collapse. I mean, just I guess the buildings are just collapsing all over the damn place. Whereas Israel and the U.S., China quantum supremacy race. Oh, huh? The hell? Okay. All right, let's see if we can see anything else, because we're going to go ahead and go into what these things mean. All right, so one of the oldest. So, I look at it as talking about the old gods, or some that would have be returning, at a certain time. And again, I feel like, if it was a temple made by man's hands, it could only know so much. But a temple that was made by God or nature or of the all would be aware of all information. Like the Bible says, they're going to know, like when it talks about wisdom being a woman, and she knows things that she was there when things were stretched out from the beginning to the end, and she can tell you of. There's certain so-called prophets or oracles. Oracle is even mentioned in the biblical text, that would know things from the beginning on all the way through. So it's so funny that on the Matrix they say that the oracle has to go this time. And again, like in the book of Jung in the Lost Gospel, it's talking about how this spirit of this energy, the Holy Spirit or whatever, has been living for a long time. But again, we're talking about living amongst different vessels of, again, feminine energy over time, reoccurring in a sense, right? But it seems like, again, most of these women had been treated and mishandled in some kind of way. And then at some point in time, patriarchal institutions and corporations and things decided to use all they had to make sure that they take it down. And in a sense, I feel like there's a purpose, that God also may want his, I don't know. Wife or child, or, could be a decision made by him. But are we talking about the God of this world, or are we talking about nature? Because why would nature want to do that? So again, we're looking at wall here, and it says Old English, we all. Ain't that some shit? Hold on. See that? Y'all see that? We all. Anglian wall, rampart, a dike. Ain't that funny, that word? Because, even I'll get into a sense where when we're talking about in Genesis, I think it's 2, I think when we start talking about the earth, Mother Earth, Gaia, right? Or the earth as a whole, had not been rained on, right? Okay, we think about the show Rain. She was raised, separate in the monastery or whatever it was that she was in. But then at some point in time, she had to be courted. She had to be, somebody, they were sending people or whatever. And then she ended up, they were trying to pick who she would be dating. But I think that she went there and Francis was acting all funny against her. And then I think they brought other people in that were low key trying to court her. I know it was something. Then Sebastian, was like the half brother of, so like the so-called bastard son or whatever, they would call it. That they kind of had a really deep bond, but, throughout the whole time. But something, she was made for Francis. Then finally, when Francis stopped acting funny, then, what happened? And then they had a certain kind of love or whatever. But it was kind of like a complicated thing, right? So again, let's just say we're keeping it low key as to who they know who these particular people would be playing in society today, right? Because a new thing is about to be done, but I'm thinking with the same old kind of like, right? So I just look at these things, guys. Just like to look at everything through. I like to see from the beginning to the end. That's just how I look at every damn thing. So again, if the woman, and I'm going back to like ancient America or Ashura in America, Ashira, Shiva, remember that cartoon? um, that there was a hard time or even deciding, I think, like, because you had the two kings or whatever. But it's just kind of funny that, after a while of courting, wouldn't they kind of imagine that the woman might be that's a strong word, so I don't want to use it, but you see it? You see what I'm saying? So this was something that couldn't, but really she just was standing strong, and it really couldn't be penetrated by. It was more not about the men, right? It was more about what she knew it would do to throw her off, and she wanted to stand in her full potential power. These women, most of these women, right? They can be with a man, but they don't want to be, what's the word that they removed? I think Princess Diana, obedient, right? And again, we use subdued, right? Within the first and second chapter. And subdued is just like completely ran down. Like, this is making me think about even a wall, right? A wall of protection. So again, let's just remove that wall. And it's also giving me that sense of just like, even when it comes to the biblical text, let's just remove it and then let's see, right? Because again, she wouldn't be wanting to be obedient to what? But I'm just thinking, is this a God of nature? Is this the all? Or are we talking about of this world? Because it just don't sound right to me. Just don't sound right to me. Especially thinking of Amazonian and women, being a matriarchal here in the Americas. It just makes no sense to me. Even it's making me think about the show that they had on HBO, I think, with Hippolyta. You see what I'm saying? And how she had to go through that whole thing that she went through. But it says earthwork. It can be natural as well as man-made. A dam, a cliff, rocky shore. Also defensive fortification. A defensive. See, when women stand in their power is considered to be something like stubborn, hard to deal with, or something like that. But, we're using defensive fortification around a city. Okay. So again, the wall, they want to tear down the defensive fortification around a city. Well, we're going to look at city too. The side of a building. Okay. Rampart, a row or line of stakes, apparently a collective form of valid stake. Meaning inferior partition of a structure. Now we could be talking about a structure, right? But we can also be talking about a structure when it comes to something that has been built up or put together through a will, right? Or deed or something of this nature, right? Uses one word where many languages have two. The outer wall of a town, a fortress. Oh, there we go with that word fortress again, huh? Oh, wait a minute. To form a Berlin Wall or a wand. Ain't that what the lady in the world card had in her hand is two wands? Oh, almost like in ancient Sumeria, we see the women there usually have two things on the side of them, like two palm trees, two something, chaffs of wheat or whatever, bundles of something. It's the same thing I'm seeing here. Okay, hold on. Partition wall. And again, that kind of could look like a partition wall if we look at how it's binded or bound together within a building. Okay. A defense wall. Again, you know what? This is also spiritually reminding me of just like a wall being built up. But again, a lot of these women had to put a wall or a barrier of protection around themselves because they had many people, especially men, coming at them in a certain way. Some of it, might have seemed very friendly, but then what happened at the end of the day? So again, it's really just being very intuitive and smart about the thing, right? Especially if they have given, in this instance, it would be hard, I would imagine, to be one of those women and have so many things that, it seems like everybody's whispering behind, you're left out in the cold when it comes to, transferring this information, right? You're kept blinded, right? And then all of a sudden, what? They think they want to just give you these options without giving you what else goes with it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I need to read the small print. You see what I'm saying? So, but then that's made to be looking difficult. But mainly when it comes down to men, most men, when it comes down to contracts or anything like this, they would be aware, or they have written them, or again, they know they're not going to be signing anything without knowing what it got something to do with. They're not going to be joining into any kind of corporation or I think sometimes, it could be possible, or any kind of contract or anything like that. Okay. So again, we're going to say to give the wall, allow him or her to walk on the cleaner wall side of the pavement. Again, that sounds like a positive, right? Okay. Giving somebody the option, right? Again, it almost is like to clean up your act. It's giving you a chance to bow down and clean up your act, right? A wall side of a pavement. Okay. To turn one's face to the wall, prepare to die. Damn. You see what I'm saying? Up the wall, angry or crazy. So again, and this is one thing when people start to wake up and like they doing right now, guess what? Family and friends want to jump on that bandwagon real quick. I mean, I know many people, like I said, are experiencing certain things like this. When you know damn well you looking at all these people like they crazy. You know what I'm saying? Or they can't see, right? Off the wall, again, remind me of the Michael Jackson song. To go over the wall or escape, originally from prison. So again, this is a thing. Okay, that's a positive thing, right? So again, they could be coming to do, but it didn't say that. It said that it was coming to do something else, to destroy. Okay. To go over the wall and escape, originally from prison from 1933. And again, a certain kind of prison is also like to keep people like afraid, or keep them concealed, or keep them confined, in a sense too, in this day and age. A lot of people, because what was the whole lockdown or whatever. So, again, are we talking that, you see, low key still? And like, this is the things that I ask myself. Okay. Metaphoric use. Okay. Enclosed with a wall. Okay. To fill up. Okay. Shut up in a wall. Immure. Okay. Again. All right. Greater than its thickness. Used to divide and enclose an area to support another structure. Now look, this is making me think about idol worship. A wall, noun, architectural partition with a height and length greater than its thickness, used to divide or enclose an area or to support another structure. Wow. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying about what pissed me off so much about feeling like people, that watching, that acting like they ain't watching, taking stuff from the channel, right? My hard work, right? And because I feel this kind of stuff is going on right now, period, right? This is on the spiritual level, right? And so, again, to defend myself, again, yeah, it could be last minute, but at the same time, I know now, right? And so, even just to think of it like that, it's just making me think, so somebody else is basically getting set up to just take my place then, right? And I'm saying this shit can't happen. Like, they keep coming, and I keep on with this, but it's just your mouth moving, right? It was, right? But we know that today there's a sense of when we speak something, right? Again, there was a certain group of, I wouldn't call them prophets, but members, okay, that we talked about in the biblical text and the other writings that would have the power to do certain things that they may not have been able to do before. So again, we shouldn't speak, but then speaking is very powerful when you're connected to source. That means using earth, air, wind, and fire. Okay. Yeah. So again, this thickness. So a hardness, a toughness. So it would be, it's not, they need to put something that's easy to penetrate, manipulate, or bribe, or, give gifts or things like this, and, everything. But when you want for nothing really, but things that are real, then you find out even love, well, damn, I can give it to myself too. It'd be nice to have another to share, right? For many people. But at the same time, Okay. A wall of prejudice. Wow. A wall of water. All right, a layer, a lining of the membrane that encloses a structure. And again, we could be talking about your mind. We could be talking about some kind of mind control. We could talk about some kind of penetrating. We could talk about some kind of foreign alien something. Again, the invasion, so-called, was supposed to be here. And again, we could be talking about something like this. And again, this could be, you could look at it how you want to. It could be something that might be positive that's going to come out of it. But again, I'm just saying we need to just question everything. At least I do. So maybe that just make me a little different. I don't know. And everybody else that question everything a little different. Okay, a difficult or awkward situation, and that's what the fuck it is. You hear me? That's exactly what it is. So again, we're going to go ahead. Oh, wait, a wall, a masonry fence as around an estate or a garden, huh? Okay. And an embark built around a space for defense purposes. So again, okay. So again, wall, the verb would be surround with the wall or in order to fortify. Okay. And then these are the, firewall, these are all, related terms or whatever. Even a wallflower. Ain't that funny? Because they call a wallflower somebody that kind of sits to themselves and chill and don't really bother nobody, but everything always coming their way. And then you could realize that it's a time when the masses, the mind control masses, are okay with getting rid of something that was actually there to help them because of whatever, some kind of gain or greed, right? So again, we're going to go ahead and stop there. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I apologize if the videos have been a little bit longer lately, but again, it is what it is. I want to be very thorough. Again, so you can take and break as you please, but again, I don't want nobody acting like they me. But you know what I'm saying? I like the information is not mine. It is, for the people. Everything I do is for the people, even if it doesn't seem like that. That's what it is. All right. So again, I'll see you guys soon. Take care. And yeah, don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon.